everyone. Welcome to this week's Neumann Update. I'm Alexis Lomax. The city of Philadelphia has been in an uproar all week long following the death of 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr., which happened Monday afternoon in West Philadelphia. Since then, we have learned that Mr. Wallace was suffering with bipolar disorder and was in an altered state when the police arrived. Following Monday's incident, Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw expressed that she is fully committed to a complete investigation and that she feels the anger of the community. Outlaw has also stated that they are looking into what was translated over the radio and what the two officers knew at the time they responded. Wallace's family reported that they called the police 3 times that day, so understanding how any prior calls went is crucial to the investigation. Wallace's family announced that they will not be pressing murder charges against the 2 officers because they were improperly trained and did not have the proper equipment by which to effectuate their job. They are, however, filing a wrongful death lawsuit. Body camera footage of the 2 officers will be released to the public soon. Police Commissioner Outlaw said that the footage is being released not to sway the public's opinion, but to show transparency in Monday's altercation. Switching topics ever so slightly, it was announced Thursday that the Philadelphia City Council has passed a bill that bans the use of less lethal munitions like rubber bullets and tear gas as a way of combating protesters carrying out their First Amendment rights. The bill was introduced by Council member Helen Jim and co-sponsored by the other members within the city's Public Safety Committee in response to what happened to protesters in May and in June. During Thursday's meeting, Council members Helen Jim said, in banning the police use of less lethal munition in response to demonstrations, we are answering the calls of our constituents. This is a moment where we are repairing trust between our residents, public officials, and police is essential. Residential neighborhoods are not war zones. Demonstrators are not the enemies. This is the first step in working with our communities to build a new model for public safety that is driven by their needs and their vision for the future. Now vote. We've all been hearing that call to action for months now, and in 4 days it will be our final chance to do so. In an initiative to ensure that students don't miss out on their opportunity to vote, 3 of our shuttle vans will be providing students free transportation to local polling places, only within the Aston Township. On November 3rd, transportation to the polls will start at 7 a.m. and continue until 8 p.m. and leave from Morgan Circle. To maintain social distance, only 3 passengers will be allowed in the van at each time. If this is your first time voting, don't forget that you need to show some form of identification, like your valid driver's license, your registration form, or your student ID. So, Rhea, I understand that baseball season is over, so tell us, who's in and who's leaving?
Well, you sure have that right, Lexi, and these ongoing changes seem to be an ongoing trend throughout the Philly world of sports. And as the World Series comes to an end, a new champion reigns. Free agent season in the MLB begins. All-star catcher JT Realmuto, along with 9 other Phillies, have officially joined the free agent list on Wednesday. All teams of the MLB are given 5 days following the World Series to decide whether to make a qualifying offer to their own free agent players. This year's qualifying offer for the Phils is $18.9 million. The player chosen has 10 days to then accept that offer, immediately signing him for the 2021 season. Being considered the best all-around catcher in baseball, JT Realmuto has a few offers on the table. In addition to the Phillies, Realmuto is expected to draw interest from both New York clubs. The Phillies were in the middle of contract discussions with the 30-year-old catcher back in March before the shutdown. Since then, John Middleton, who is the Phillies' managing partner, has not ruled out re-signing Realmuto. In fact, he has stated that retaining the catcher would be a priority. The Sixers are putting their money where their mouth is. This offseason, they are searching for the very best management they can get to put this team back on a championship course. They have proved this truth in the past few weeks in signing Doc Rivers, and now they are expected to hire former Rockets general manager Daryl Morey to run its basketball operations in tandem with Elton Brand. The club also anticipates the addition of former Los Angeles assistant coach Sam Cassell to join Doc Rivers on the coaching staff. Cassell joins a rather impressive bench of assistant coaches. The Sixers hired former Grizzlies and Kings head coach Dave Jorger earlier this month, and they are reportedly adding former Pacers assistant coach Dan Burke to the mix, who brings decades of experience as a defensive specialist. Well, after a frustrating 2019-20 season, Sixers ownership has undertaken quite the revamp in efforts to recreate a winning trend for next season. After a hard loss against the Steelers, the Eagles anticipate a win over the Cowboys this Sunday to solidify the first place position in the NFC East. There is also a possibility the Eagles' first-round pick, Jalen Reagor, may be back out on the field with the rest of the team Sunday night against Dallas. In the 5 games without Reagor, the Eagles' offense has actually improved, scoring 25 points per game, but that is due to other factors. The idea of adding Reagor along with Dallas Goedert to an offense that was already on the upswing is exciting and may give this team the maneuver they need to pull out a win. It's a rivalry you won't want to miss. Game time is slated for 8:20 p.m. on Sunday. It has been a little over a month now since the Stanley Cup was awarded. The offseason for the NHL persists on as hockey fans all over just can't wait for that 2020-21 season to begin. There has been much conversation circulating, and last Friday, the NHLPA had a call with the NHL general managers to discuss when this start could potentially take place. In that call, however, the NHL stated that it was still too difficult to give a specific date on when the NHL will start their season. The league, although, did reiterate that January 1st remains its target date, but still no guarantees. Flyers head coach Alain Vigneault says regardless of the unknown, he is making sure his players are utilizing this time to prepare themselves to be in the best shape possible so that they are ready for that spontaneous start date. Now we take it over to Amaris Manning for her Critics Corner.
Hello everyone, my name is Amaris Manning and welcome to Critics Corner for the Neumann Update. Halloween has finally arrived, long last. Usually I would break into song and start singing Tim Burton's This Is Halloween, but my vocals need a little rest after surviving a night at Bates Motel Haunted Attraction. Now, every week since we started Critics Corner, I have been giving you insights on films and TV shows to get you in the spirits of Halloween, from zombies to ghosts and gore that twists your stomach into knots. I have watched some of the most wicked films and shows streaming on your favorite streaming services and rated them on a scale from 1 to 10 based on creativity, originality, and the level of thrills, as well as performance. Now, last week, I talked about The Haunting of Bly Manor, which now stands as number 6 on Netflix's list of top 10 shows and movies. During the review of Bly Manor, I mentioned The Haunting of Hill House, which is the first installment of the Haunting anthology series, and said it would have its own episode on Critics Corner. Well, that day has come. The Haunting of Hill House comes loosely from the story by Shirley Jackson of the same name, and follows Hugh and Olivia Crane and their children, Stephen, Shirley, Theodora, Luke, and Eleanor, who is also sometimes referred to as Nell for short. The family moves to Hill House to renovate and sell the mansion in order to build their own home. But while in the process, unsettling paranormal activity starts to unfold, resulting to a tragic loss within the family. Many years later, the children, who are now adults, reunite with their father after tragedy strikes once again within their family. And they each are forced to comfort how the time at the house has impacted them. Usually, I don't compare shows, but compared to Bly Manor, Haunting of Hill House freaked me out. I don't have enough fingers to count how many times I would look away and cover my eyes when something was about to go down. One of my favorite episodes within the show focuses on the ghost of the bent neck lady, and she is one of my favorite ghosts. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but let's just say her story is probably the most interesting out of all the ghosts and greatly impacts the family the most. As I mentioned before, the actors from Bly Manor are the same actors that were used in Hill House. And what amazes me the most is that, even though it's the same actors, I felt more intrigued to watch them in Hill House than I did in Bly Manor. Like, Victoria Pedretti portrayed Nell in Haunting of Hill House and Danielle Clayton in Bly Manor. I found her character in Hill House more appealing than her character in Bly Manor, since the writers expanded more on her character in Hill House rather than have her heavily rely on going with the flow of things like her character in Bly Manor. Also, the writers for Hill House did justice by my dude Oliver Jackson Cohen, who played Luke Crane in Hill House and Peter Quint in Bly Manor. In Bly Manor, Jackson Cohen's character, Peter Quint, was just a total sleaze and overall horrible human being who had the most complicated backstory with no further explanation, and the writers failed to go in depth with his character even though they tried to. To be honest, the writers of Bly Manor sort of made Peter Quint seem like he was just sort of there since every show needs a bad guy, but they didn't explain why he was so bad. Whereas the writers for Hill House went in on Luke's character more so, exploring his past that led up to him being a hot mess that he was in the present setting. Also, Luke felt more realistic and relatable opposed to Peter Quint, since Luke went through everyday struggle rooted by the trauma he faced as a child that people could understand. Overall, the characters in Hill House were way more thought out than the characters of Bly Manor. But I still give props to the actors since they were able to pull it off for both shows. Now, on a horror scale, Hill House was way more terrifying than Bly Manor. My suite mate who watched both shows with me said that Hill House kept her up at night for weeks, whereas Bly Manor didn't really creep her out as much, and she was able to sleep a little easier at night. That just goes to show how much of an investment the writers really put into both shows. Unlike Bly Manor, Hill House doesn't really rely on cliche jump scares constantly, and the ghosts are actually pretty darn scary. Like, another reason why I like the bent neck lady so much is because of her presence. She just stands there with her neck bent to the side and a bone popping out, and she doesn't say a word. She just looks at you. Now, with all that said, it's time for the final judgment. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give Haunting in Hill House a well-deserved 10. When this show first came out on Netflix, it had already earned the #1 spot on the top 10 list, and it wasn't just by chance either. Hill House has everything a horror movie and show should have. A well-written plot that tells more of a story than just a bunch of scare attempts, characters that actually make sense and connect to the story and are relatable in some type of way in order to captivate the audience, and a decent horror content that isn't cliche by attempted scream jumps and scares. The ghosts themselves looked like actual ghosts, and it wasn't heavily relied on CGI either like it was in Bly Manor. The makeup artists were phenomenal in Hill House, and you can tell how much time and dedication was invested on this show compared to Bly Manor. From the makeup to the story and the characters, The Haunting of Hill House wins by a long shot. And I can guarantee you this, I'm definitely watching it again, this time by myself because of COVID, and I highly recommend it to all Netflix users out there if you want a good scare and a good story as well. My name is Amaris Manning, and this has been Critics Corner for the Neumann Update. Happy Halloween!
What are some of your biggest fears? Is it spiders? Clowns? Sharks? Hopefully not. Or maybe those long-dreaded Zoom meetings? Well, an Iowa father has created the perfect costume fit for 2020 that is scary, hilarious, and inventive. And no, it's not my costume. A creative inventor at an advertising agency, this dad is known around town for creating the best original costumes for his children every year, from a Transformer sock robot to his neighbor's door. He decided to step up his costume game this year by creating a Zoom meeting outfit for his daughter that has won both Halloween and the internet over. It consists of a classic interface with some spooky twists, changing the buttons End Meeting for All to End Life and Share Screen to Share Screen. There are 7 different monsters photoshopped with his daughter's face on it, attached to the outfit, along with a cardboard cutout for his daughter to stick her covered face as the masked murderer. Iowa residents who give up their treats may be the next victim, as the square will be filled with the onlooker's face thanks to an iPad with a front-facing camera taped to the back of the board. On his inspiration behind the costume, this delightful dad says, quote, 2020 has been tough. It's nice to know we'll be giving some joy to others at a safe distance, of course. On behalf of the entire Neumann Update team, happy Halloween. We all know that typos are important, but what if I told you it could save your life? Take a look at this certificate of death. Does anything look suspicious to you? Robert Berger was going to face sentences for 2 felony vehicle charges that he pleaded guilty for. But in October, no attorneys had told the court that he had passed away, submitting this fake death certificate. After inspection by the NCDA, they first became suspicious after noticing that the font type and size altered throughout the document. After taking a closer look, they noticed that the word registry was misspelled, where investigators announced it as fraudulent. In addition to previous crimes committed, Berger faces 4 more years in prison on an additional felony charge and offering a false statement for filing. As for his attorney, he spoke out against Berger, stating that he had unknowingly tricked him into participating in the conspiracy and has since dropped him as a client. With that, let's get right into Tech Talk. Okay, I admit it. I love to croon my favorite choruses in the shower. However, I never have a speaker or music to sing along to, so unfortunately, I have to sing acoustically. If you are a secret shower singer, I've got the perfect product for you. Made with 100% ocean plastic, Shower Power is the first water-powered speaker that attaches to any type of shower head. It works by intercepting the water flow to create a hydroelectric generator that will power and charge the battery of the speaker, meaning that you will never have to take the speaker out once it is set up, which makes it shine in comparison to other waterproof models. Also, this device offers 360-degree audio with a custom-designed sound wave diffuser to resonate all music and outside noise for an incredible sensory experience. The Shower Power has its official launch on Kickstarter today for $59 with a waterproof remote add-on for $15. And now, let's check in with Amanda for this week's On a Positive Note. Amanda.
Are your classes and assignments starting to scare you during these spooky days leading up to Halloween? Maybe these stories will ease your mind and cast your negative spirits and thoughts away. A 5-year-old boy in North Texas named Orion Jean truly has a heart of gold and believes that kindness is like spreading hugs around the world. After winning the Think Kindness National Speech Contest last summer with an entry answering the question, how can kindness change a nation? Jean decided to use his $500 first prize award to organize a project to collect and donate hundreds of toys to hospitalized children in the Dallas area called the Race to 500 Toy Drive. Now with Thanksgiving right around the corner, Jean is on a mission to collect and distribute donated Thanksgiving meals to those in need. Jean has put out a call to everyone to join him in a race to kindness as he strives to collect 100,000 Thanksgiving meal donations. The donated packed meals will consist of a bottle of water, a piece of fruit, a tuna pouch or applesauce cup, a granola bar, and of course a positive message. Currently, there are drop-off points for donations in Tulsa, Oklahoma through Dallas, Texas. And Jean is not the only one spreading smiles and cheer in his area. A 32-year-old UPS driver in New Orleans named Jay has been not only delivering packages, but smiles to his New Orleans neighborhood route. About 2 years ago, Jay started taking pictures with some of the cute pets he encountered on his route and posting them on his Instagram page with the hashtag #PupsOfJay. However, he never expected his photos to go viral. In fact, he has now gained almost 100,000 followers with thousands of likes per post. After his initial goofy dog post one Friday, Jay tries to keep that hashtag #PupsOfJay going every Friday on his Instagram page, and which has turned him into a local celebrity with his customers. So now when he asks people if he can take a picture with someone's pet, the owner says yes, as it will make their dog famous. Jay says, quote, "The best part of his job is taking random breaks and hanging out with his buddies," end quote. As long as Jay's deliveries are on time, he's happy to share some puppy love with the rest of the world. And maybe if those two stories didn't bring a smile to your face, I'm sure this one will. A 5-year-old girl named Ariana, who is battling an aggressive form of kidney cancer, was able to escape to a magical Disney princess land of her dreams. to help her escape her health challenges during a heartwarming photo shoot with Ashley Richer. Ashley Richer has been donating themed photo shoots to children battling cancer since 2018. After her son's best friend passed away from the disease, missing the opportunity to turn 2, Ashley thought about what she could do to help these kids who were sick, and decided to do what she knew best, which is creating magic from a camera. Ashley said, quote, "It wasn't until I started doing these sessions that I realized that this was exactly what I was meant to do. Just make other people's lives better by something so simple as taking a photo and then just being creative with it," end quote. When Ashley heard about Ariana's advanced diagnosis, she reached out to Ariana's dad to see what her favorite princesses are to plan her magical photo shoot, where Ariana could not stop smiling. Ariana's father said, quote, "To see her dressed as her favorite magical princess and all the other ones is just incredible. I look at the photos and I know it's Ari. I know it's my daughter, but it literally looks like she's starring in her own movie, which is just super amazing and special. She's just a representative of bald is beautiful and bald can be a Disney princess," end quote. And she's loving every minute of it. Wow, that's a breathtaking story and inspiring. Has Ashley and Ariana's story inspired you to use your talents to spread kindness in a new way? That's everything for this week's On a Positive Note. I hope these stories of kindness inspire you to provide more treats rather than tricks this Halloween. Now let's head back over to the main studio to see what the weather is like next week. Rhea, from all this rain anytime soon?
Oh, Amanda, I think you'll be pretty happy with this forecast. And while it's been a couple of chilly and dreary days with all the rain and clouds, however, we have a brighter week ahead. Starting off with a spooky, chilly mischief night tonight with the temperature at 48. So be sure to bundle up a little more than usual if you're headed out. Tomorrow we wake up to some frost on the pumpkins for your Halloween morning, and we get to 50 degrees in the afternoon with completely dry skies for some trick-or-treating. Sunday heads back up to a warmer 59 degrees and some sun and clouds for the Eagles game. And beginning next week, will we endure some wintertime high temperatures, with Monday starting off at a brisky 46 degrees and Tuesday below average at 48 and partly cloudy skies. Then Wednesday comes back around, raising us back up to 59 degrees and beautiful clear skies. And finally, don't forget, November 1st, we fall back an hour, so we'll be regaining a much-needed hour of sleep to prepare us for the week ahead.
You know, Rhea, I'm so glad that you mentioned that we're falling back and we're gaining an extra hour, because I could really use an extra hour.
Oh yeah, Lex, I think we all really can use that extra hour of sleep.
That's all the news that we have for this week's update. Thanks for watching, and on behalf of myself and the entire Update team, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.